All right, guys, what's going on? It's Eric here. I wanted to make this quick video because I know a lot of you guys asked me about today's trade and kind of how things went. So I'm gonna break it down for you a little bit, and just give you some more tips and tools of the trade because I know a lot of times you guys might think this is a little bit harder than it is, but it's really not. So I want to try to make this as easy as possible for you, especially for you beginners. So what we're gonna do here is just kind of recap uh, one of the major plays today. It was actually a lot more than we expected to be, depending based on how the market started out. But we're gonna recap NURO, how that trade went, um, how I took the trade, and that way you guys can kind of just get a glimpse of everything. Okay, so this is gonna be a pretty quick, easy video, but just a little bit more to give you some more insight. So those of you that are new beginners, you probably would want to watch this video because this is going to be very informative for you, um, and just give you more tools for your trade. Like I said, I keep everything very simple, um, but very conservative. So this video here will hopefully help you get a understanding of that. Congrats to all you guys that were banking on the alerts. The last 2 days, well, two trading days have been horrible. Obviously, if you're a bull trader, because it's been red like crazy. But I know some of you guys, might trade. You might be short selling, something like that was great. As long as you profit, green is green, like I always say. But I do this video for the bull traders that are like myself, for the most part. So definitely pay attention to this. It's going to be, pretty good, without trying to overwhelm you with so much stuff. Because obviously there's a lot of things you need to know. But this video is going to break that down, put it all into play, and you'll be surprised because everyone thinks that you know I'm trading a certain way, something that's special, and it's not. But there are different ways to do it. So without further ado, let's kind of get into this video. This is probably the only one I make for this week. Still working on stuff for the course for you guys and everything like that, and working with the admins to get more things going for you. But yeah, let's take a look at everything and get the ball rolling. All right.
All right, guys, so we're about to get into it here real quick with NURO, and just kind of break down the beauty of this thing because this was probably the easiest, if not one of the most textbook plays that you could have made money on. And if you kind of know my strategy and how I trade, like I said, I'm very conservative. This shows you why what I trade, and how I trade when I trade works out so well. It's because, it gives me better odds of being able to be successful with my trades, okay? So let's get into this bad boy here. NURO. Now let me pull up the alerts real quick here so you guys can just see here when this thing was alerted today. So obviously July 20th, boom, boom, boom. Let's scroll down here. NURO, high day, 472, 7:53 a.m. All right, let's take a look at here. So, let's first look at the overall chart. This thing was beautiful today. If you're a bull trader, easy money, easy money. Even after hours, it was just going and going and going. Probably dumped some of you guys out right here and right here, but man, this thing was beautiful. But anyways, we was alerted at 7:53 a.m. Right, 472, which is roughly right around here that it had hit the new high day, around this area. Not much movement right after the bell. This wasn't on the watch list. Just right after the bell, didn't move much. Not much range. Not much range until around 7:50. Boom. Hey, this is alerted that hey, this thing is making some kind of move. You guys might want to take a look at this. Now we all know the alerts do not indicate to buy into a stock. I repeat, the alerts do not indicate to buy into the stock. In fact, none of this stuff should be considered as legal or financial advice. Why? Because it's not. This is just to help you find the stocks that are moving throughout the day. Because in order for you to be a successful trader, day trader, not a swing trader, not an investor, that means you get in and out of your position the same day. But in order for you to be successful, You need to find stocks that are moving, whether they gap up, gap down, depending on whatever your trading strategy is. The reason why these alerts work well for you know, various traders and many traders because these find stocks that move. If you have no movement, you have no trades to execute, which therefore you have no profit or no loss. You're basically just sitting on your hands. So again, the alerts just tell you where to go. They don't tell you what to do. Okay. And obviously for you options traders, that's something totally different. But anyways, the alerts went off, right? So stock popped up. Now you guys know me and how I take my trades and things like that. And I pretty much never go off of the first alert. You know what I usually wait for. You should know. If you don't know, go look at the other videos or watch the course. But anyways, I didn't personally get into the stock until around 650, 55 area. Why? You should know why. But anyways, let's take a look at this bad boy here. So the alert went off. Boom. Now it's basically saying, hey, pull this up, look at it. And this thing just kept making highs, 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 which is fine. Obviously, the MACD didn't roll over at that point. So I was looking at it on the chart like, okay, great. It's still rising. It's still rising. I expected to do that. The MACD's green. It's high above the relative strength index. So that's just normal for stocks that are, moving. And it had decent volume. So, okay, that's perfectly fine. Most of the alerts, the other ones will probably have that as well, too. I mean, you can see here even things like AMC was doing well at that time. BlackBerry was doing well at that time. QBT, QUBT. I mean, all those were pretty much doing fine at that time. So I had them pulled up and, are looking at them. But what made this stand out? It pretty much hit the setup that I looked for. After the MACD had rolled over, I'm still glancing at it along with the other stocks. Usually I have 4 or 5 different charts pulled up on my screen, mostly 9 at the most, and it's usually ones that are no alerts. But anyways, it pulled up, and it did its natural pullback, which from $6 all the way back down to almost 530 range. Now at this point, I'm looking at this stock like, oh, okay, it's holding very well in the 560 areas. When the MACD rolls over again, let's see how well it holds up. Let's see what it does. What is it forming right here? That beautiful cup and handle. You guys know that is my number one trade that I like to do. Whether it's going to break out or break down, I'm going to trade it because I know that pattern and I know that psychology of how people would think when they trade. So, of course, the stock broke up. And me as a bullish trader, I love that. Great. So, after it broke up and hit that 650 area, I said, you know what? Looking at my risk to reward ratio, this would be worth me getting in. Yeah, it was alerted at 472. Excuse me. Loaded at 472, I can probably use this area, the 460s, 475 range, as an area of support relative to my entry point at 655. Now, again, depending on your account size, you want to think about that accordingly to yourself. Are you okay with losing $50? Are you okay with losing $100? Are you okay with losing $1,000 to 10,000? Whatever you might be okay with losing, provided you are wrong on this trade, and then set your entries accordingly. I scaled into this thing. All right. So pretty much, it did its cup and handle break, which is what I look for. Perfect. That's one of the many things that I look for. Everything else was looking good. Got into it, held more support, and I'm like, oh man, that's great. Then these green candles showed up. I'm saying, okay, that's even better. So at this point, it's above the volume weighted average price. EMA is looking good. It's still trending along above that. Super trend is looking great. It's still holding above super trend. There is no reason for me to exit this trade. No reason. In fact, if you look at this whole time, this thing held above the super trend for a very, very long time. And even then, by then I was up so much, it really wasn't no reason to get out either. This is one of the longest holds I've ever did. You guys know me and the way I trade. You know where my ultimate stop point is. But anyways, this thing just kept riding and kept riding. Even though the relative strength index was showing that it was, overbought. That's fine because even when it pulled back, guess what? It held higher levels of support, higher highs, higher highs, higher highs. Now, in the course, of course, I tell you guys how to put all this stuff together so you can understand what to look for and know when to get out and all that good stuff. Quick note on that. If you find yourself exiting your positions too early, not exiting too early because the stock kept running, but you exit your position too early because you didn't stick to your rules or stick to your plan, you probably need to scale down in your position size. And I covered how to, identify that as a trader in the course too. So, quick little note for you there, for those of you who didn't maximize your gains when you had the opportunity. But for me, everything was going out according to plan. This was a textbook example of me trading that cup and handle breakout right there, and then letting the rest ride. Maybe securing some profit if you want to, but every time that MACD rolled over and that average was up, I knew that this thing was going to keep riding and riding and riding. And the relative strength index was still in the middle, even though the moving average convergence divergence was still down. I mean, that's just perfect. I mean, that means there's more room for this thing to run. Could have got out right here if you wanted to, but again, like I said, at this point, my entry was so good at $6, I wasn't even worried about letting it go. And then the halt came. It halted right here. That's where you see this gap right here. That just shows you it wasn't done. If it halted and it halted up, breakout, perfect. And of course, that's where I cash out. I like to try to get out before the bell, then it dropped. And then after it dropped, guys, you seen in the Facebook group, I came back for more. Why did I come back for more? Because it broke out another high. That means all these, traders that are there in the after hours seen probably what happened throughout the day and like, hey, I want to get in on that and push this thing even higher. And I got some more profit there. Okay. Um, I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that. You know, most people that trade will understand the psychology of this, and I preach this to you guys a lot. Psychology behind the trading is just a third of what you need to be knowing. Aside from chart patterns and reading statistics and you know looking at indicators, knowing what they mean, there's a lot of that goes into it. But it's much simpler than you think once you start putting all the pieces together. The hardest part for most traders is actually putting those pieces together and knowing what part works for them. This is a lot of things that your gurus or whoever you follow might not tell you. They might just go over something like, oh, a chart pattern, ABCDB chart pattern, blah blah blah. This tells me the breakout. Okay, yeah, that's fine, but you're missing like 6 7 other things that you should be knowing about whether to take this trade, whether to get in and out of this trade, and all other good stuff. Obviously over time this experience will come much easier for you, but knowing that ahead of time will help you perfect and refine this. So let me kind of give you guys an example here real quick before I wrap this bad boy up. Not indicators. Let me go to replay. I want to show this to you in real time so you can kind of get an idea of what it's like. So let me play this. And I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Obviously, in real time, it's a little bit slower. Let me have a little sip. Sorry, getting dry mouth. But yeah, let that play out. And we're going to watch this in real time because I mean, it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. Obviously, the alert went off whenever it went off, and that stock just kept running. I mean, there was more other plays today. There was like in NVFY. I mean, there was a lot of good alerts today. For it to be a red day, I mean, we started out so bad coming up those last few days, but for this to do this on this day, man, it just helped out big time. And of course, the market changed to green, which was even better. So let's kind of take a look here. Come on, speed that thing up. Yeah, alert goes off. I'm like, okay, that looks good. Great. And now this is a faster time, guys. Obviously, in real time is much more slower. So you have much more time to plan, look at support, look at resistance, playing your own support, playing your own resistance, mark your entry points, mark your exit points, have your plan in place by the time this thing might do what you want to do. For me, I'm looking at it, okay, great. Your moving average has changed. All right, perfect. You don't broke out. Okay, time for me to get in. Boom, I'm filled in at 650. I'm watching to see if this hits volume weighted average price, the yellow line, the VWAP, and if it doesn't, let this bad boy ride. I don't care how many times it goes from red to green, red to green, red to green, red to green. My plan is my plan. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. Oh well, move on. There's another stock coming. Okay, understand that, guys. Happens all the time. But at this point, man, I'm making some money. I got in at 655, and this thing is already at $9. What the heck? Don't want to lock in some profit? You can if you want to. If not, let it ride. I chose to let it ride, and I'm like, man, this thing is doing great. It's doing great. Don't get too greedy. You might want to lock in some profit. This little sell sign here might scare you on a super trend. You might want to get out at that point. Do you? I don't know. I know that the sell sign here with the super trend and the moving average convergence divergence along with the RSI means that this thing is at the bottom. However, the reason why I would not get out is because I know with the RSI being at the bottom, this thing has possibly got to turn. Now here you might get a little bit scared at this point, but you understand if you know what support and resistance is, hey, this is the level of support. I don't need to jump out. It has to turn. It has to go back up, right? Yes, it does. Because if it doesn't, that means it's going to break support. And at that point, you probably want to get out. That point, that's my point where I would want to get out, take my profit. But good thing I did. Why? Because I knew what to look for with relative strength index, with support and resistance, with price action, and all that stuff played out perfectly. And what happened? It shot right back up. And then at this point, I'm tired of playing around with these little games. I'm gonna go ahead and get out. You know, sell signals telling me, hey, that's enough. And I'm thinking, looking at the price action at this point in time, I'm like, yeah, this thing's probably died out for a little bit, which is fine. I done made my profit. You know, at this point, it done went from $6 to $11. I mean, I done topped out at that point. Now here we are in after hours. Okay, great. Yeah, it's got a lot of volume, a lot of price action happening. That's normal. I mean, it's after hours, right? Okay, great. I don't expect it to go any higher than this. I'm already out of the trade at this point anyway, right? Of course. But here we are after hours, chilling. Nothing's happening. Let me see if I can even find that alert for you. After hours, and all of a sudden, we're talking about Netflix earnings and whatnot, but boom, 12:20, it goes off again. What the heck? I'm sitting here looking like, what the heck? Okay, let me get in right real quick. Let me just test the waters a little bit. I know my level of support is going to be at least $9 in after hours. And then I'm looking at price action very heavily, level two very heavily in after hours because why it's after hours? You know, you got to follow that price action. I'll show you how to read that price action in level two all the time. All right. But anyways, you get that profit, and I'm like, okay, that's enough. I don't need to be greedy. I done made green today anyway, so just go ahead and take my profit when I see that sell sign and I get out. Not even at the sell sign. I think I did it a little bit before then because I knew the moving average convergence divergence was coming down, and the RSI showed me that it was coming down. Easy squeezy, lemon peasy, and I'm done for the day. That was my entire day. Sat on my big butt and made money by just watching the chart. I'm not putting it simple, but it is that simple. Once you understand what you're doing and knowing what you're doing, and just taking your emotion out of your trade. Um, the psychology portion of this is very underrated. Not, traders might touch on it, but they won't touch on how to change it, how to fix it, and how to, control it. Because once you take it out of the play, this stuff becomes very easy, and it only becomes easy once you practice it and do it more and more and more and more. All right, guys. Anyways, that's the NURO trade. Let's shoot for tomorrow to hopefully be a good trade. If you guys have any questions, email me, message me. I'll be right here for you. Um, you know what? Even with this video, I'm gonna make this one public. I'm not just gonna keep this with the chat room. Everyone look at this. Like, subscribe, do all other stuff. Whatever helps you, be able to share this with someone else who might be interested in, learning how to day trade. Again, I'm just here to help. Um, if you do want to join the chat room, great. Um, you know, come join us. I mean, every day we're looking at stocks like this every single day. Even on the red days, we still get some. They might move a lot more slower, but we still get them. And that's exactly why I made this room for you guys, so you can help yourself become better day traders. And is compared to all these other chat rooms stuff like that that's out there is really really much cheaper. I mean, they even talk about just keeping it this way because everyone is able to access it. But anyways, guys, message me if you have any questions. Hopefully everything is good. Like I said, like and subscribe to this video, and send it out on every platform so as much people can reach it as they can. But until then, let's get ready for tomorrow. Stay green, all right?